Welcome back to another episode of Humans of Fintech. I'm your host, Nicole Casperson. And on this episode, I am actually dropping the live recording from the Fintech is Femme Leadership Summit on April 23rd from our opening keynote fireside chat with the formidable Angel Rich, the founder and CEO of CreditRich. During this episode, she is going to drop all of her billion-dollar playbook gems. So I hope you enjoy it. And if you missed the summit, this is a great opportunity to hear some of the incredible insights from the day. So I hope you enjoy it. How are you?
I am amazing, and I have been fighting back tears all day, as you know, because I'm so immensely proud of you. So I'm going to try to keep it together.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And if anyone who's read, this would be a fun question, who's read my book? All right, bonus points. All right, well, then you might be familiar with Angel Rich's story, but let's start from the beginning. So you left, somewhat of the beginning, you left a high-performing career at Prudential after generating $6 billion in revenue, and then you got offered an MBA instead of a meaningful promotion. What was the turning point that made you say, I'm building my own thing?
I've never heard it worded like that before. That's interesting. I got offered, that is a true statement. I got offered an MBA instead of a meaningful promotion. That is a true statement.
We uncover things in real time.
Yes, I've never thought about it like that. And maybe that's why my instinct knew I needed to leave.
Yeah.
I don't think my heart and mind quite processed it the fantastic way you just put it. But I think my heart said, I'm better than this.
Yeah.
And I can do better than this. And if not, worst case scenario, I'll come back here and y'all will still be here.
That's a good way to put it. I mean, it sounds like to me, if you generated $6 billion in revenue, I'm not sure why you needed an MBA to be, I think you got it. I think you had it in you.
Yes, I also concluded that as well. And fortunately, I have now, and I made it my goal right then and there to get honored with a doctorate, which in December, I have been honored with a doctorate. So I'm very happy about that. Thank you.
Excuse me, Anton, if we could change the slide to Dr. Angel Rich, that would be great. No. It's my mistake.
No.
All right, so CreditRich is created by something deeply personal for you. What were the specific gaps in financial education and access that you were seeing that pushed you to launch?
Yes, well, I graduated with $180,000 of debt. Anyone else? Okay, Woo. All right. So it would have taken me until I was 55 years old to pay off all of that debt. And I said, no way, no how. I need to figure out a better way to do this. So, I just decided to reverse engineer the Fair Asset Credit Reporting System.
Casual.
Yeah. It wasn't that hard. And once I did it, I applied it to myself and I said, my God, there needs to be a mechanism to allow people to figure this out. And I started by creating it as a game. It was called Credit Stacker. We took the various mechanics and we wanted to allow people to be able to simulate what it would look like to help them with their credit. That did very well. We grew it to #1 education app in 14 countries, top 5 in 40 countries. But I realized there was still something that was missing in the actual applicable change in people's lives. And one day I was sitting there yelling at the world and I said, it's almost as if they want you to do the work for them. And then I said, well, why don't you just do the work for them? And I sat down and I thought about every single thing possible that you would need to improve your credit or live a financially credit-rich life, which is why we named it CreditRich. And we just thought of all of those various different components and decided to combine them together. And I'm happy to be a pioneer of the saying of one-stop banking. That was kind of our thought process around creating that.
You said reverse engineering the FICO score was easy. How so?
You know, my brain operates in an interesting way. And I've been told, even by the people at FICO and the credit bureaus and all of these people, that it's supposed to be this super complicated algorithm. But it's really not that complicated if you just take the time to peel apart each layer of the onion. That's all an algorithm is being able to understand all the various different intersections of the onion and caring about what the nucleus actually is. I think a lot of times people conclude what they think that the nucleus of an algorithm might be, and therefore, like this whole tariff thing, but whatever. And they kind of just come up with an algorithm, but it's not really based on actual facts.
Okay.
And I think that at the end of the day, you have to understand the facts behind the credit system in order to actually reverse engineer it.
Hell yeah. So you were able to uncover those. I mean, any behind the scenes learnings you can share?
Well, without giving away too much, one of the biggest things, he really updated the slide. That's hilarious. Thank you. Well, one of the biggest things, and we actually based CreditRich off of this, 50% of, this is going to sound so basic, but so big at the same time. 50% of your credit score is based off of paying your bills on time. Therefore, if you were to have an algorithm that helped people to pay their bills on time, you might think their credit score just might go up. And for someone like myself, this might sound crazy, so I'll put myself out there. I did not know you were supposed to pay your bills on time. I legitimately did not. I thought that as long as the bill was paid within that 30-day window, that you were okay, that the bill
teaching that.
Yeah, that the bill got paid that month. I did not know that it made a difference exactly what day that you pay. That, you know, it makes a difference if it's 20 days late, if it's 15 days late, if it's 5 days late, if it's 8 days early, it makes a difference. And so all of these different factors go into how they calculate how you're managing credit. Another thing I'll give out is it's not about maintaining your debt. You can have a 700 credit score, but what is your credit capacity, which is the second biggest thing that I focus on, which again is why we called it credit rich. Because you can have a 700 credit score, but is your capacity only 20 or 30,000? Or is it 50 million? Is it 200 million? Are you calling every 6 months and asking them to increase your capacity? Are you constantly looking for other things to actually put your credit on? Are you living your life on your credit? Because the point of credit management is to manage your credit, not to have as little debt as possible, but to actually manage your credit. I think Robert Kiyosaki has like $1 billion in like credit debt or something like that.
Mm-hmm. But if it's managed effectively.
Exactly.
And that's what we're not teaching people, right? And I think what I want to pull from that really is your incredible ability to take simplicity, right? The simple thing that would impact someone's life and financial life and tweaking it to fix it, right? Who, you know, just little things like that. Because I think in fintech, we get so complex. We're like, oh, we got to have this big complex thing and this, but you have built your, you know, billion-dollar empire with this mindset, and I think that's important. In fact, can you talk to us a little bit of, speaking of mindset, your Trojan Horse Strategy, which, by the way, Angel shared during her fabulous TED Talk a few years back. Can you break down your Trojan Horse Strategy, what it means, and how you've really applied it to your career?
Absolutely. Well, I used to, if anyone, raise your hand if you're like in corporate America right now. And then raise your hand if you're an entrepreneur. Okay, Ooh. It's pretty even. Very cool, everybody. So if you're in corporate America, one of my tips and tricks is to hang out by the printer. Because all good information comes through the printer. How do you get the information? From the printer.
It's a fair.
So that's how I came up with Be a Trojan Horse. I was the youngest in the office. I was working at Prudential, but I was in one of the top departments in the world, in the market research department. It's the department of 14 out of 20,000 employees. I took over for a senior analyst on day one, but no one would give me any real information. I wanted the real projects. So I said, I'm just going to casually start taking stuff off the printer. And I don't think I would be sitting on this couch right now if I had not did that. Honestly, I learned about deferred income. I'll quickly tell you all about that. That is where wealthy people put 50% of their income towards their 401k, and they have various different tax benefits, and then they put this money into a 401k and they're able to grow it. Well, I did that. I grew my portfolio by 28%, and then I was able to pay off $100,000 of that $180,000 worth of debt, and I was able to take $100,000 and start my company. And while I was doing that, I did another thing because people wouldn't give me information. So I pretended like I needed mentors. I mean, of course I need mentors, but I pretended like I needed mentors. And so there's 30 days in a month. And one of the pieces of advice I got is to always take your lunch. I don't care how smart or whatever you are, always take your lunch, because that's how they turn you into a workhorse. So I got that advice at the very beginning, blocked off 12 to 1. Okay, I'm now gonna fill that hour with all of the most powerful people in the company. And I mean the most powerful, the CEO, the CFO, and everyone underneath of that. And then I'm gonna rotate them. So every single day, I would have a mentor meeting with one of these people, and I would pretend like I wanted to hear about their life and tell me about your journey and all of that. And then I would save the last 5 minutes of the meeting and I would say, tell me what you're working on. And that is how I found out what everyone in the company was working on. And that is how I made my first $6 billion, because I found out 6 different people was working on e-signatures. So I volunteered to create a problem resolution product, a research study. And that's part of how you all now can do e-signatures on documents. So I would encourage
thank you, Angel. Yeah, I mean, you are called a genius in many articles, and it makes sense. No surprises here. Let's talk money. So you've mentioned in articles in the past how in the early days you raised $200K for CreditRich while your competitors raised millions, despite all of your amazing accolades. How did that shape the way you built CreditRich, and how did it inform your eventual Series B $100 million raise?
You know, when you're going through it, it's very rough. I try to take an approach like everything has a blessing, there's a silver lining in everything. So even as I was going through this very harsh journey, I knew that while it would be hard, I knew it would benefit me in the long run. And so it was definitely very near impossible to raise money. I mean, extremely difficult. Even if they felt as though the product was great and all that, you know, we were talking backstage, I kind of have this double entendre. I'm a Black person and I'm a female. So they kind of make the assumption that I'm just handing out charity buckets or something, and I'm not actually trying to make any money when I'm actually one of the top people in the world for finance and market research and all of these various different things, yes, and have one of the best products that's been created. So in total, before going into the Series B, we only raised about $4 million. That's all the way through Series A. So my competitors, all of my competitors have raised over $100 million. Every single one of my competitors that has a product equal or higher than mine, or even lower than mine, really, they have raised $100 million. Recently, we are very blessed to be in the middle of our Series B, where we are now raising $100 million.
Hey, there we go.
And I promised Nicole I would share how we did this. So I'm finally going to share how we did this.
Thank you.
Okay, I've never talked about this publicly. I started with a phone call.
Mm-hmm. Do tell.
Yes, I decided that I was going to start at the top this time. So I called Experian. Okay. I was very shocked that they actually called me back. They had never partnered with a technology company before. Mm-hmm. If you go on Credit Karma, you do not see Experian on there right now. I was in the middle of the NASDAQ accelerator. And so I decided to offer them something that they could not refuse. I knew I had already reverse engineered the Fair Isaac credit reporting system, and I knew it was already successful at helping to lower people's debt and increase their credit score because I had already tested it on the game. So then I had this idea of this whole one-stop banking where I did not want people to have to go to various different sources. So I wanted to be able to combine credit scoring and credit reporting underneath of one umbrella, which did not exist before CreditRich. And so therefore, I then had to form a partnership between Experian and FICO. They told me this was impossible, but I think they're running commercials on it now. Has anyone seen them? Yeah. And so we started by getting that done. We had to go through a lot of financial cybersecurity, learned a lot about regulation, had to do a lot of stuff with that. That seemed like I pulled off a miracle of some kind, and it was extremely groundbreaking. Once we did that, we then said, I then said, I wonder if I can do this again.
So you picked up the phone.
So I made another phone call. This time I called Visa. Is Visa in here?
Or Visa.
Hey, shout out to Visa. This time I called Visa. Visa called me back too. I was like, okay. And so I said, Visa, I love you. You love me. We've been courting for a while. We've been wanting to figure out what this relationship is going to look like. And Visa said, how would you like to be a bank? And I said, huh? And I almost said no, ladies and gents. I almost said no. And then I said to myself, well, what's the worst case scenario? You fail at trying to start a bank? That's not a bad story. That's not bad at all, okay? So I said, you know what, Visa? I will start a bank.
Hell yeah.
Show me how. And then they said, we're gonna put you in Visa University, and then I can't give out too much, but I learned a lot. And I was offered a lot, and we then received a very nice contract from Visa that I am not allowed to say the number of that contract. And then from there, we got a very nice contract that was in conjunction, and in total of the contracts, they're valued at $183 million.
Woo! Girl.
And so that is for my debit side.
Oh, there's more. Of course there is.
I have another $200 million in contracts for my credit side. That just hasn't been announced yet.
Woo! I love breaking news on my stage.
So this is the funny part. And I recently had to review this for my diligence. So I thought that the contracts were valued at $40 million at first, right? Like I wasn't understanding the spreadsheets. I thought I didn't know what was going on. And so I asked for a press release to announce that we were doing $40 million. And they called and was like, I don't think you're understanding the math.
Oh my gosh.
And so that's how we then were able to get out the press release and the valuation and yada, 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 yada. Fast forward to the actual capital raising of the Series B. There was a lot of men kicking tires. I've been through diligence probably 6 or 7 times over the last year through major name companies because everyone just can't fathom it and can't believe it. So I got to keep doing it over and over and over again. Okay, so fast forward to we were able to bring on Rudy Terez, who is the head of GWA and a couple other things that I can't mention. But from there, I did a deal with him for us to raise $100 million at the $1 billion valuation, gave him a discount, and was able to bring him on. And now we are at the last leg of diligence for our $100 million with an investment company. And hopefully I'll be making an announcement soon.
Hey, yes, you will. You will. I'll have to bring you back.
So pray for our Series B, everybody.
All right, yes, a collective manifesting altogether. I thank you. That's obviously my first time, everyone's first time, the universe's first time hearing that story. It's truly incredible because I think there's a lot, just a lot of misconceptions around strategies and how to raise money, how to make these deals happen. What is your piece of advice for some of the founders or folks in the room who want to do what you've accomplished, right? Like to be able to partner with Visa and Experian and Equifax, right? Recently?
I was about to announce it, but you can announce it, girl.
You can announce it.
Okay.
You announce it.
So she may have done another thing. Since people couldn't fathom it and believe it, I decided to do it again. So we are very proud to announce that we now have a partnership with Equifax. We just rebuilt the whole thing all over again with Equifax, and we are preparing to launch with them within the next 2 to 3 weeks. So we're very excited about that.
All right.
So get ready to see CreditRich and the Google Play and App Store. I can't even believe that I'm saying that. It has been, okay, I'm not gonna cry again, but it's been such a journey. So just please support the app. What is CreditRich? CreditRich is the ability to be able to have mobile banking, credit reporting, and online payments in one app. It truly is an extension of one-stop banking, where you don't have to go anywhere else. Through our partnership with the Credit Bureau, we have a custom-made credit report and credit scoring system for you. It is color coordinated. It is also personalized. As you go about your day and you, let's say, buy a cup of coffee, let's say the cup of coffee is $1.50. We'll take that additional 50 cents, put it into your CreditRich savings account, and once it accumulates to more than $5, we apply that money to your credit in the most optimal fashion. You can decide that you want to focus on your mortgage or your credit cards, or you can decide that you want to put it on the CreditRich AI algorithm and allow us to do the work for you. It's a lot more that we can go into, but we're very proud to be partnered with Visa and offer the Visa signature cards along with that, and offer rewards as you shop to give you even more bonuses. So I'll cut my commercial there.
I mean, so well done. And yeah, I think, let's talk a little legacy as we close out, which, by the way, if anyone has a question for Angel, like I said, we have 2 mics up here, so just go up to one of those mics and I'll know that you are ready to ask a question. But we have just 5 minutes left, so I do want to talk a little bit about legacy, leadership, what is next. You've called underestimated founders the greatest threat to the status quo. How do you stay grounded in your vision even when the path is full of the resistance like you shared? It's honestly one of the things that I even find I'm so frustrated. I'm frustrated with you. Like Angel has done so many historical things. There's no way I'm going to let this lifetime pass by without the world knowing what you've done.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like,
same to you.
There's no way. So anyways, point back to the question. But like, how do you keep pushing forward through it all? Advice.
I try to find someone new to the world to inspire me. Someone that just quit their job today and they come up to me and is like, I have an idea. And I never want to be bitter. I never want to turn them away. I never want to say, oh, someone already tried that. I'm going to treat you like this is my first day too, and we're in the same box together. Now I'm going to try to give you a ton of advice, and I try to spoonful it where it's not so overwhelming, but it excites me, like even you doing all of this, it truly excites me. I used to be the only one in the room. A room like this, I would be the only woman in fintech, so it's just inspiring to see a whole new generation all of these different ideas. There's so many tools that I had to do by hand that they now just have graphs for. So I'm starting to feel old, you know? I was at Harvard the other day. 2 girls told me they've studied my work. I didn't know whether to feel honored or grab a cane. Like, what is going on here? But I still love for people to underestimate me.
Yeah?
I still do. Please do.
Let them.
Let them. Again, be a Trojan horse. I want you to talk about me like I'm trash right in front of me. Please do. And I'm going to listen. And then I hope you go write it on the computer and print it off so that I can take it and I'll have the notes. But honestly, I think people spend too much time trying to prove who they are.
Yes.
And you know, who do you think you are? And every boss has a boss. Okay, touche. I'm gonna go find your boss now. All righty? I don't have time for this. Where's your boss? I'll go find him. Oh, you don't have a boss? Guess what? Maybe it's the public then. The public is your boss. If you don't think you have a boss, that means that the news is your boss then. Everyone has a boss.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So well said. So well said. Angel, you have accomplished so much, as I've shared, and I know that you are not done, not even close. What's next on your legacy building journey?
You know, I am very proud to say that I have a new podcast that I'm doing. It's called Credit Cooks. It was recently, we just signed the contract with Radio 1. It's a nationally syndicated podcast. And then it's going to radio show on Mondays on WOL. I am low-key an original influencer. Before influencer was a word. So I was one of the original people, like the moment they created Facebook Live, I was like, what does this button do? And so, like the moment. And I would go live and I would cook in my kitchen and I would give out free financial advice. I was literally one of the first people doing this. And then once it started to become like a real thing, I was like, I'm out. Like, I don't have time for camera lighting and guests and setting up. Like, I didn't want to do all of that. I like just being real. But recently, with all of the financial climate changes, I realized that my voice is actually needed.
Yes.
That people are lost. And I did kind of help usher the last 2 waves. So for me to just kind of back off, even though y'all didn't know I was ushering the waves, but who did Forbes call when the crisis happened to figure out what was happening with the market? This girl. When the financial crisis happened in 2008, who did Goldman Sachs call? This girl. So I've helped usher the last 2 crises. Little do people know. So I have to be here for this one.
Yeah.
So I feel like I have to come back. I have to do the podcast. I have to help guide people. And that's really kind of just what's motivating me right now, that the information is actually really needed.
Yes, yes. So well said.
And not all these social media mavens. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I mean, social media platform of choice.
Yes. And then also I have this little digital marketing algorithm in my back pocket that might be the best digital marketing algorithm in the world. So, you know, after I sell CreditRich for somewhere between $5 to $10 billion, I think I've already lined up the next company, and I'm just going to slide over and go do that. And I'll probably sell that one for somewhere around 20 billion, I'm thinking.
All right. I like that idea. You know who to call, right? You know, digital marketing. I'm in that realm. Okay, good. I love the conviction. I think it's exactly why, I wanted to open the show with you today. As we wrap up, I am going to do my favorite thing, which is a quick round of rapid fire. So the first thing that comes to mind, okay? First, one word to describe your leadership style.
Convicted.
All right. Okay. That's fair. One thing you tell your younger self starting in this journey.
Have fun.
Oh, ain't that the truth? What's one piece of advice you want every woman in this room to walk away with today?
Stop asking for permission.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, that resonated. All right. Okay, and with that, we are out of time. Everyone, another round of applause for the amazing, formidable Angel Rich, Dr. Angel Rich. Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Humans of Fintech. If you loved it, be sure to hit subscribe, and I'll see you next time.